and welcome to the Macabre Podcast Universe. Here we are again. We're on the Maximum Teenage Angst Overdrive series, which is, as we know, the Twilight Saga.
Yeah.
And today we're covering the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 1. And we have with us a special guest. Her name is Lauren Panter. And
Hello, Lauren.
Oh, I thought you said but you said hello.
I said hello.
She did.
And we are in the midst of our nice quarantine, so even though Lauren is only a few blocks away, she is safely at home, and we are safely at our home.
And hopefully this recording works out.
Yes. I think it will.
Trying it.
I think it will. So we have kind of talked about our background with each movie, Lauren, as we went about. I had only seen Eclipse before I started watching these. So
why only that one?
I know that's going to definitely be the worst one out of all of them.
Well, the
He's
thing
explained
was,
it on this podcast like twice.
but I'll explain
it again.
to you.
Okay. Yes,
I
so
liked
curious.
this girl, and she was going to see the movie. And funny enough, another guy, one of my friends, liked this girl too, and we both saw the movie, and she sat in between us. So it was a real Team Edward, Team Jacob situation.
Oh my god, that's hilarious! That's just like what movie was the one where she goes to the movies
New
with
Moon.
Jacob and that other guy? Yeah. Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah. Pretty appropriate, I would say.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too good.
So, anyway, all of that to say, before you jump in, audience, forgive us if there's any audio issues. We're figuring it out. I think, hopefully, though, you'll be like, actually, it sounds good. Why'd you even mention anything? That's what I think is going to happen. So, Lauren, tell us your experience with Twilight.
0. Like, I mean, obviously I'd heard of the books when they were coming out when I was younger, but I didn't really have an interest. I mean, I've read my fair share of young adult novels, don't get me wrong, but just that one never, I don't know, I missed that stage. I was more a Hunger Games girl, I think, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
You dodged a bullet. You dodged a freaking bullet. I read these books and have never read Hunger Games.
Oh, well,
unfortunately.
You missed out.
I know.
Yeah, so this is my first time watching the series, the Twilight movies ever. And I'm 23, and I'm just now watching them.
That's just so shocking to me, because you just exude, I watched Twilight when I was a teen, to me.
Thank you. I take that as a compliment. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no, because you're so into vampires and like this type of stuff. But I mean, having said that, this is like a really bad portrayal of all those types of creatures.
Very, very, very bad. Please, everyone listening, do not think I'm into these kind of vampires. That's cruel.
Your reputation is on the line right now.
Yeah, it is. Please, no.
Okay, so you watched what, Eclipse and Breaking Dawn last night? You had a double feature?
I did, and my head hurt afterwards. I was thinking of watching the last one, but I was like, I don't want to kill my brain. So I didn't. I stopped.
I can't believe you were able to watch the next one after Eclipse, because when we watched it, I was so mad that I just went to bed.
Yeah, Jordan, she literally like...
I was so
Did you
mad.
even play Switch or anything? Or did
For
you
like
just like go to
5 minutes,
sleep?
and then I just got depressed and mad and just went to bed. Really ruined my night.
Not to, I mean, this is kind of like throwing the lead out front. Well, that's what you're supposed to do with leads. But we do this at the end of each series. We rank the movies. Where I'm just very curious
She hasn't
where
seen
you
all
would.
of them.
I know. But of the 4 you've seen, like, which
Yeah.
one's your favorite and which one's your least favorite and all that?
I think New Moon is my favorite.
Okay.
Then the first one. What's the first one? Just Twilight?
Just Twilight, yeah.
Okay. And then Eclipse, and then Breaking Dawn Part 1. I really hated this movie.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Wow,
It was
I am
really bad.
shocked. Well, yeah, that when you were texting us yesterday when you were watching Eclipse and professing your love for Jasper,
Oh my god.
just have to admit that. So like I said I really liked him in the books. He was like my favorite. And I really like that his like superpower is like he gets to affect people's moods. I think that's really interesting.
What? I didn't know that.
They do it like one time in the movie, like one time. So it's kind of like it's subtext.
Well, his super
Well, for some
that's
reason,
kind of a weird way to
Lauren.
describe it.
But we talked about this in, I think, New Moon, that for some reason they felt the need to make them like superheroes. I guess being a vampire is not cool enough. I think that's so dumb.
That is very, very dumb.
Yeah, but with him, I thought that was interesting because it was kind of cool. He was cool to me in the books because he was, a central character, but like central side character, and he did a lot of cool stuff to me. Yeah. But then seeing the movies, even when they casted this actor, I was like, oh my gosh, he's perfect. That's like so Jasper to me. And then as I'm watching the movies, I was like, this guy shouldn't be acting.
He's crazy.
Bad. And like the whole time leading up into Eclipse, I was like, why does he talk funny? And we mentioned.
It's so funny that you mentioned that because I didn't even I thought he kind of talked funny, but then when they explained his backstory, I was like, oh, I get it now.
Me too, because I was like, okay, yeah, so that's their explanation. He's Southern, but I feel like the actor is too insecure and inexperienced to like actually do it, and that's why it's just confusing.
Do you think maybe it's supposed to be portrayed as like it's been a while, so like the accent is like kind of going away, like
probably
it's still there, but
I think if you get to that point where you have to provide that as an explanation, you're doing a bad job.
Yeah, well, all of these movies, you have to start to find things
you really do. You have to.
It's just so bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump into this movie. Okay. So this movie is directed by Bill Condon, who is a pretty famous director. He did Dreamgirls before he did this movie.
Okay.
He also goes on to do Breaking Dawn
weird.
Part 2.
Okay.
Of course. He did the new Beauty and the Beast movie.
Wow.
The Good Liar that came out last year with Helen Mirren and Ian McKellen, where they were like murdering people.
Yeah.
And The Fifth Estate. Do you remember the Benedict Cumberbatch weird movie?
Daniel Bruhl's in that movie too. I've never seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
Okay. It doesn't look very good.
I heard it was horrible.
I remember.
Wait, is that the one where he's like the
Snopes guy?
Like NSA
yeah,
type.
I saw that. I saw
Was
that.
it good?
Was it good?
My judgment was clouded by the fact that Benedict Cumberbatch was in it, so I really
exactly.
can't
No,
tell you.
I totally understand. I remember like when that movie was coming out and like him being casted in it, and then like the makeup that he was wearing, it was like, oh,
yeah.
He
what's
looked
going
so
on?
different. His hair was disgusting,
and it wasn't in a good way.
Yeah,
for his benefit.
So he did those movies. This movie's also produced by Wick Godfrey and Karen Rosenfeld, who produced the last couple. We know that. But this one also gets a Stephenie Meyer production. So she produced this movie as well, and I believe she produces the next movie. Always interesting.
Why do they always wait until the last movies to get the authors and as producers? That happened with JK.
I don't know. I wonder if like now they have enough money where they can actually like put money into it or something.
Oh, that's probably true. Yeah, that makes sense.
Screenplay by Melissa Rosenberg, who, as we know, has done all the screenplays of all these movies.
Yes, she has.
Music is again by Carter Burwell, who is the Coen Brothers guy and who did Twilight.
Well,
so
Carter,
we already talked about him.
You did a poor job in this one. The music did not stop for a second in these movies. It was a daytime TV. Oh, it was just like so you couldn't. I don't know.
It's like so inoffensive that it's offensive.
It was everywhere. Yeah.
Cinematography, we have Guillermo Navarro, who did Doolittle, starring Robert Downey Jr.
And the rest of Hollywood.
Pacific Rim. He also did one of our favorite documentaries, It Might Get Loud, with Jack White and The Edge. He did Pan's Labyrinth. That movie's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And he did Zathura as well, in addition to others. So he's a heavy hitter. He's worked with Guillermo quite a few times, which is always cool. Yeah. Production, we have Temple Hill Entertainment and Sunswept Entertainment again, and distributed by Summit again. And the movie, by the way, Lauren, it's just funny because when we talk about series that have been going on for a long time, a lot of my production notes just turn into me being like, it's the same person, especially with Marvel, where I'm like, Kevin Feige, producer, again, he produced all, anyway.
Yeah.
So it gets like less, the people involved get less interesting as our podcast progresses. So the movie comes out November 18th, 2011. And this
so
one,
long ago.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
it's almost 9 years ago.
This is senior year of high school for us.
It is. Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And the budget of this movie, $110 million.
That's a lot.
Which you see it on the screen.
Give me some like context for that budget. Like
So-
compare it to something else so I can kind of understand that.
Yeah, so the first movie was $37 million.
Okay.
The second one was, I think, in the high 40s, and then the third one, I think, was in the 60s.
I think it was in the 70s.
Okay.
60s, yeah, 70s.
So, like, what's a Marvel movie budget?
a Marvel movie
yeah.
budget is usually like 160 to 200.
Yeah.
200 million.
Yeah, and then if
That
it's like
is insane.
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean,
my
with
God.
with the Marvel movies, they have these. You know, you have someone like Robert Downey Jr., who, I mean, he's not.
It's like a guaranteed
in them
$20 million
anymore.
paycheck or something like that.
Yeah, he
Oh
gets
my
like
gosh.
20 million. Well,
Wow.
I've heard that number. I don't know how accurate that is, but he just gets like
You
20 million.
do know that he gets a lot, though.
Yeah.
Regardless what the number is, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's so many effects shots. And
Yeah.
this movie, like 110, I'm like, that makes sense to me.
Well, yeah,
Because they went to so many different locations.
No,
and
that
the
does
sets are
finally
really
make
nice.
sense, because the past ones where it's like, that is such a small budget, especially in New Moon, like it's still a relatively small budget, and that's when the wolves look the best. is in
I'm
New
still
Moon.
Yeah.
confused by how good they look in that movie
Yeah,
as opposed
and
to
now
this
they're
one.
spending more money, obviously not on that, and it's like, who was your VFX guy in that movie, and how come he's not working on these? Because they
Well,
don't
but-
look as good.
But with this movie, I think the wolves, I think, were lower priority. I
think so, too.
The priority was making Bella look sick, visual
Which
effects-wise.
they nailed that, but we'll
She-
get into
Oh,
that.
Yeah.
It was hard to look at. Like,
Yeah.
she was.
They did.
Gross.
I didn't remember.
I was horrified.
I didn't remember
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they did that. Like with a,
Yeah.
it was just like shocking, and it was also just shocking that it still looked so real.
Yeah, they did a
yeah, it was
fantastic job
gross.
on her effects. So I think they like doubled down on that.
Yeah, which makes sense.
And then you know, you got to think about like how in New Moon the locations were not that complex, so they probably spent more time and money on the VFX.
Yeah,
Because these all have like 1 year turnarounds. I mean, it's been since 2008. There's been a movie that's come out.
yeah.
It's crazy. Okay, so domestically, the movie makes $281,287,133. Worldwide, the movie makes $712,205,856.
Wait, how much worldwide? I totally zoned out.
A little over 700 million.
Okay,
So
a lot of money.
they did good.
Yeah,
And then, okay, so kind of to put this into perspective, the book came out in 2008. So that was the year that the first movie came out. And Stephanie Meyer insisted that the movie be split up.
Why?
she did.
Well, and I have a
Why?
quote.
What
It's
is
because
the
she
explanation
shared
for
a
that?
lunch with J.K. Rowling, and she talked her into doing it.
Okay, pet peeve when they take a book and they split it into two movies. Hate
Not
it,
only
hate it,
that,
hate it.
but when they do it in The Hobbit and they do it
And
three
it's
times.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well-
I just don't understand why. What is
Money.
What is the? I know, but
Yeah.
why?
Well,
Well,
we
no,
discussed
no,
The
hang on.
theoretical
Hang
why.
on. I don't think in terms of Harry Potter it was a money
That's
move.
what I was gonna say, because we've talked about that on that episode where the guy who wrote the scripts for Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows is the biggest book, and he really wanted it was him, right, who really wanted to do one movie, and he was fighting for it, but then he couldn't figure out how to make it one movie.
Yeah.
because there's just so much important stuff that happens. So they decided to do 2 parts because of how big it was. Of course, though, there were meetings about how much more money they could
Yeah,
make.
of course.
Doing
Yeah.
it that way, too.
We're not naive in that sense.
Yeah.
But I think for this, and I have some more information that I'll get into, I think they went for the, quote, artistic route as well, not the money route. And I'll explain why.
Huh.
I will explain why. Just give me...
Strong opinion coming from a guy who hasn't read the books.
I'm just... and also, Lauren, and you know what,
Yes.
this works because sometimes we announce 2 weeks ahead. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. I don't care. I don't care
We're
anymore.
we're actually this is like we're doing like a bigger narrative in our podcast right now where we just finished Harry Potter and that was split into 2 and that like starts this trend.
Okay.
So we decided, let's do Twilight next. And we're exploring that trend now. So not next week, the week after, we're starting Hunger Games because that has the split part 2 as well.
God. I'm so excited.
Okay, so
wait.
here is a quote from Stephenie Meyer on her website. She said, "When I said that she said it would be impossible to film." Is what she originally said.
Oh, give me a break.
And she said, "When I said that Breaking Dawn might be impossible to film, it's because of
Renesmee?
Renesmee, the baby.
Yeah.
You can do almost anything with CGI these days. Realistic dragons and dinosaurs and endless amounts of non-existent creatures that blend right in with the real elements. Some of them look so real you forget they're not. However, the one thing that I've never seen is a CGI human being who truly looks real. An actress can't play Renesmee, at least not when she's a few days old. She's the size of a baby, but her expressions are totally controlled and aware. She would have to be a construct, and CGI isn't quite there yet. Of course, they develop amazing new technologies every day, and we've got a little time left."
Okay.
Which
Thank you.
I guess that didn't have to do with her wanting to split them up, but I just think that's hilarious.
But
because
she thought that the entire last book was unfilmable because of one baby. Like, she didn't, like, you just have, if you really believe that, but that's one thing, it's like, okay, how can we work around it? If we truly believe that we can't film that, you can work around that. You don't have to show it.
I mean, we haven't watched the second movie, and I don't know anything about it, really.
I'm excited for the second movie.
But I don't think that is portrayed in this movie, that this baby, like, knows all this stuff.
Well, because that's when it gets into...
I'm just, like, jarred. I don't get it when
here's
the
an
baby's
explanation
born.
for that. Go ahead.
Sorry, isn't she also Renesmee? I literally hate saying that name. I cringe every time I say it. It's so bad. I literally couldn't take them seriously when she said the name for the first time in the movie.
Mm-hmm. But Lauren,
isn't she what?
The alternative was EJ, naming him Edward Jacob after her 2 people that she's in love with.
I know. It's both bad. But isn't the child supposed to be like the most beautiful human ever?
It is, yeah. Yeah, so not only that,
we haven't seen her yet, but
in the books they obviously explain. So they obviously explain that the baby like grows up quicker than a normal human. That is also conveyed, like, her pregnancy is only like a month long.
Yeah.
If not less than that. So you can kind of infer that the baby will grow up quickly.
Yeah.
I think in the books, and I can't totally remember, but I feel like it feels like the baby ages really quickly. So you're thinking, so is she just gonna like age so fast that she's an old woman? But I think that she wrote it so that she like conveniently stops aging at like 18 or something. You know.
Oh my God. Yeah, we will talk about this when we get there, because I have opinions on this vampire child. So I'm going to shut my mouth for now.
Huge missed opportunity. That would have also just sucked, but the baby did not have fangs. Come on.
They don't have fangs.
Oh, I forgot. That's another dumb thing
that
they don't have in this series.
Yeah.
None of the vampires have fangs. I didn't even notice that. That's stupid.
Okay, so more production. The main cast was only... So here's why I think that this was actually an artistic move, breaking it into 2. The cast was only signed up for 4 movies, and so the production was like, crap, if we split it into 2, we might have to recast people. Like, people like Edward, Bella.
Right.
And they're like...
And at that point, they're like, we can't get Robert to do another movie, guys.
So they're just like, I don't know. And then they decide to do it, and they are able to renegotiate the contracts, and it's fine. So that's why I think it was a move. Not like, again...
Because they fought to keep the same actors.
Yeah. If they didn't care, I think they would have split it into 3, or whatever. Pattinson. So this is the time period, because I've been looking around. It looks like from interviews I've seen, I see the Breaking Dawn in the background behind him.
Yeah.
This is when Pattinson starts vocally talking about how much he doesn't like the series.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, because after this movie's wrapped, they've already finished filming Breaking Dawn 2, and it's in post-production.
Well, I mean, he has to do press, but as you can tell from his terrible interviews that he's done.
What does Lauren know about this? Do you know about this, Lauren?
That he hated it?
Yeah, but have you ever watched interviews?
No.
Okay, so after we're done recording, you should look up Robert Pattinson interviews of Twilight. Well, specifically Breaking Dawn, because he, when an actor finishes a movie, they have to go on a press tour to promote the movie.
Yeah.
So that's what he's doing. He's doing his job, but he is like at that point, like vocally tearing apart these movies, and he is like so pissed that he's a part of it.
And
there's a part
wonderful.
There's an especially hilarious interview. So in this movie, they're like researching vampire babies. At one point, it's like a little montage. So there's a hilarious interview.
I remember.
Yeah. So there's this interview with him, and he was just like, how come, we're vampires? We're hundreds of years old, all of us. And we're in a room surrounded by ancient books. And we're on the computer Googling vampire babies. Why would that work?
Yeah.
He's like, that makes no sense. And he's just like laughing about it like openly and just saying how dumb it is. And it's like, okay, he's come around.
Well, and
I agree.
Yeah. There's so another one, and I'm going to link it in our description. So if you're listening, podcasters, you can just click on the link in our description and watch this video. But there's two others that particular that I like. But one, this woman asks him, were you happy with the amount of pay you were given for Twilight? And he pauses for like 10 seconds, and he's like, could have been better.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah. And then the other one is like...
What a weird question, by the way.
Very weird.
Yeah.
The other one was... This she goes, who like affected you most in your Twilight experience? And it is like 30 seconds, and he just goes, I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow. What actor or like person like affected you most? And he's just like, I don't know, whatever.
Myself.
But having said that, there's recent stuff where he has kind of talked about it again.
Yeah.
And he said that he does have like warm feelings about it, and he like.
Well, yeah, without it, I don't know if he would be where he is today. So.
Yeah, and I think he kind of came to like, it's nice now, because when fans talk to him, they're like, I actually really like that series. You were so great and stuff. And he's like, it's what I was experiencing before was this pandemonium of like you're Edward. Oh my gosh. Blah, 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 blah. And now people are coming up to him and they're like, oh, this is a warm spot. You were part of my life.
Yeah, I'm not
now
crying
he's like,
because you're in front of me right now. Because people were definitely crying.
So I think he's made peace with it, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how many, like, specifically when it comes to young adult novels turned into movies, how many really famous actors now started there, even if the movies are just god awful.
Oh, yeah. Lauren,
it's definitely like a play. It's definitely like a decision that the actor is making, like, okay, I'm doing this to get myself out there. Because all these teens are going to go crazy, but then hopefully an actual director for something actually good will take note and take off from there.
I think our New Moon episode, we go on a huge tangent about child actors.
Yes.
Right? It is New Moon. Because this is kind of... Because Dakota Fanning's in that movie, and we were going on a Dakota Fanning, like, tangent. And it was just opened up this world of, like, child... Like, we were talking about the Stranger Things kids a lot. Because it's like... They're so famous right now. It's like the same thing pretty much, like Pandemonium, but where will they be in 10 years? Because they're not all going to be that famous in 10 years.
Yeah.
There's no way. No. There's not enough room for them. Yeah. So, it's super interesting to think about that stuff. Years later.
Not to, like, tangent, but what about, like, Finn Wolfhard, though? Because I feel like he's already, like, getting...
Oh, we
talked about him a lot. And just to give you our little thoughts.
Abbreviated,
My abbreviated opinion is I think that after a couple of years, he'll be out. That's what I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. I'm not sure. I think that... Oh, yeah. My thing that I said was... The day he cuts his hair is going to be the deciding factor.
Yeah.
Because it's always been the same hair. Even if he's in other projects. And that is like seriously to like destroyed actors' careers. If they like cut their hair or they get a different, like they get something done on their face or something like that. Like it ruins it. Or people are fine with it.
Yeah.
So I think that will really decide for him.
Cool.
Although he is in the new Ghostbusters movie, and that could be big.
With the same hair.
Yeah.
Can't wait for then in 10 years for us to be talking about this and see who was right.
Yeah. When we do our retroactive Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1
no, I'm not doing
retread commentary, where we'll play this episode below us talking.
That's off.
Nice.
Okay, so like a lot of the fans thought that the movie was going to get a rated R.
because of
how
sex.
graphic it is.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been a little better because I was like shocked.
Yeah, so were we.
Like my jaw was on the floor.
It's
I was
nuts.
like, I literally couldn't watch. But also I don't like hospital doctor gross, like I just don't generally like that anyway. But this, that was really graphic.
Yeah.
But and in addition, that birth scene caused a lot of seizures in theaters. So there was like a medical thing because of how like jarring and crazy it is.
Oh my gosh.
And then my last note before I read you some Roger Ebert, my last note is the wedding. It was like one of the last things they filmed. And they had like helicopter security and like no phones were allowed.
No.
And Kristen Stewart was like locked in a room. And she had like the wedding dress covered so that like nobody would see the wedding dress.
So crazy, but it makes
so that
so
shows
much
you
sense.
like the hype of this franchise. You missed out, Lauren. You and me both.
What the heck?
Could you imagine like you finish Eclipse and then for a year, you and your friends are at school just talking about what's Bella's dress going to look like.
Micah, I lived it,
I can't
and I had those
that.
conversations.
I can't imagine doing that. No, Jordan.
Well, yeah, it was just because we, like, me and all my friends read it, and then we, like, would all see the movies, and it, like, even by that point, we didn't like them anymore. We thought it was all dumb, but you just couldn't not fantasize, like, what is
it's like
their wedding
reality
going to be
TV
like?
to some people.
It is because they milk the wedding and the honeymoon for all it's worth. For all it's worth, it's so much. And it's like, this makes sense though, because this is literally what the fans want. Yeah. Like, this is what it's all been building up to, is them consummating their marriage.
Yeah.
And getting married. It was crazy.
So then,
literally, I hate everything about all of what you just described, which is why this is my least favorite movie so far.
Okay, so Roger Ebert, the great film critic, when we can, we like to read stuff by him because it's always fun to see what he said. He gave this movie 2.5 out of 4.
Okay, surprising.
And he said, Edward Cullen may have been dead for more than a century, but he's still producing industrial strength sperm. Can humans and vampires mate? What's the blood chemistry on that? What will be in the wee one's bottle, milk or the unthinkable? That's one thing he said. Thought that was very funny. And that is, as again, I always say this, but Jordan and I don't like to get caught in like the details of nitty gritty stuff. But this world that Stephenie Meyer built is so not like thought out that you do think of questions like that, and you're like, why don't you like, this world is so loose.
Because she's changed so much. So it's like, okay, so she has a specific view in her mind of what she's trying to create. Therefore, I feel like it gives me the authority to ask why.
Yeah.
On so much stuff.
Well, it's like I keep going off about the werewolves because I just don't understand what their deal is.
Yeah.
I don't get what their goal is. I know that they have like a line drawn, but it makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with the moon, which sucks. It should be a moon thing.
Well, yeah.
The series is called Twilight and Eclipse and New Moon, and there's no like moon action. Give me those moons.
Yeah.
And then finally, he said, given that he had 9 months to prepare for the big event, I can't say Edward trained himself carefully for the home delivery. The sum of his medical training seems to have been a viewing of Pulp Fiction, in which he learned about a real big needle you can plunge into someone's chest with great results.
Nice. He gave it 2.5 stars and he said that?
Yeah. I'm having horrible flashbacks.
And so that is my production notes. And now unless you have an actor you want to cover.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Rami Malek was not in this movie, so that's what I'm waiting
I guess that'll
for.
be tomorrow, next week.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dive into the movie.
I'm really sorry. My heater was making noise. I turned it off, so hopefully it'll stop soon, but it's definitely picking it up, so I apologize in advance for that.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Is the iPad still going strong?
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I can. I've been editing these podcasts for a little bit
work
now.
Something out.
I might be able to figure something out.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so the movie begins, and we have.
Well, first of all, Mike and I were watching. We started this movie on YouTube, YouTube TV.
Yeah, we had recorded it from Freeform.
Yeah, so it started, and first of all, it looked awful. It was like Freeform turned on Automotion Plus for everyone who would be watching it.
It was so weird.
And you couldn't turn that off. And then also it was a woman in a scantily clad like nightgown looking dress walking into the Volturi, and obviously, I mean, we turned it off before we knew what happened. We knew that they were going to kill her or whatever.
Well,
But
and it was very clear that this was not the beginning of the movie.
No,
it was like, wait, what?
It made no sense. And then we had to rent it, and obviously it looked so much better, and that was not in the movie. And we're thinking it was a little like fun Easter egg that
Like-
Freeform exclusively had.
Like a deleted scene they added.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it was so weird because the whole movie, I'm like, at first, because the first 20 minutes is all the wedding preparation and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I'm looking and I'm like, wait, when does the TV version that I thought we were watching that was not edited gonna show up?
Yeah.
Because it was so weird because that scene never showed up.
Yeah.
Weird.
So the first note I have is Edward Miller. And I don't know what that means.
Huh?
How does the movie start?
I mean, they're getting ready for their wedding.
Yeah, okay.
And
all there is to
Bella's
it,
like,
yeah.
can't walk in heels.
Yeah.
And that terrible scene with her and Alice, where Alice is, she's organizing the wedding, whatever. And then she's like, go, Bella, go get your beauty rest. And as Bella's leaving, she skips off screen.
Yeah, that was
No way,
so
I did
weird.
not
She
see
does.
that.
Yeah.
It
was so weird.
it was just terribly lit. Alice
It was
is
a very
not a good
poorly
just not a
composited
good
shot.
performance. Terrible.
No,
So
no.
very weird. And then I think it goes to her bedroom, and she's looking at the Dreamcatcher longingly and probably thinking about, oh, I think I love Jacob still, which is like, no, he's telling you that you love him. He's still manipulating you, even when he's not there. And then Edward shows up and he's like, I want to tell you everything about myself. And she's like, you can't scare me off now. It's the day before our wedding.
Yeah,
And
then he like talks about all those people he killed in his past.
yeah, and then
or
he's
whatever.
like, they were all terrible people. But I'm a terrible person for doing it. And then Bella jumped from him saying bad people to they were all murderers, Edward.
Yeah,
They were like, we never saw one of them murder a person. And he never said it. Yet she just assumes that they were they were like, by bad, they're murderers.
Well, and for a movie that's so graphic.
Yeah.
Like this movie is so graphic. It makes no sense to me that theater scene, that girl in the red dress like walks out.
Yeah.
And he follows her. And then this other guy walks up, he kills the guy, and we're supposed to assume that guy was going to attack the girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was no implication of that. He didn't even
Not really.
he didn't pull out like a switchblade, or he wasn't like I don't know, but I was like, oh, he just killed this random dude, and then he's like, he was a bad guy. Really, he's a serial killer that just kills people, is what it seems like.
Edward? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the Dexter of
Yeah,
vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or so he claims.
Yeah.
I think
But-
he claims it but these people are just innocent people. The guy was probably just going to the bathroom. It was right next to the girl's bathroom.
So yeah, then they talk more, and then he has to go to his bachelor party with Emmett and Jasper, where they're gonna go probably kill some animals.
Which we have not talked. Yeah. Oh man, we have not talked about really that guy.
Who, Emmett?
What guy?
Is that Emmett? The
big
like
one?
really big guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's insane.
Yeah, he
his
is.
acting is so insane.
Yeah.
I'm
I
happy.
like to think he's having fun.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say I'm happy that he's probably having a good time.
Yeah.
But it is so bonkers to me that he like exists in this world.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And probably if I had looked
we
at
have
this
to
book,
go to the bachelor party now.
yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, I hope that he had fun because I don't think he's in much else
Yeah.
after this. So
Well,
Prime
his
of his
character
life.
doesn't really have any purpose. He doesn't have any backstory. He doesn't.
he's just big. That's it.
He's just large, and he's part of the family, and that's literally it. Literally,
Yeah.
everyone else seems to have some sort of
At least a little bit more.
backstory, like a tiny bit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Maybe we'll find out in part 2. That's why they had to split it up for the 2-hour section
got it.
on him.
I don't remember
Just
what
real
his
quick.
superpower is.
Because I've been wondering this, and I just have been literally too lazy to get on IMDb and find out, but Jordan probably knows. The mom, the vampire, mom, she looks very, very familiar.
She's in a lot of stuff. Like I can't remember exactly what she's in, but I mean, this actress has been in several things. I think she's had small parts in several movies and has also been like in one episode of several TV shows. I think that's like her
okay.
career. Therefore, she is someone that you always recognize, but you never
Yeah.
really remember who she is.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. I'm not
she's-
crazy.
Her name's
No.
Elizabeth Reeser. She's in Handmaid's Tale, Haunting of Hill House, Ouija, Mad Men.
So yeah, a ton of stuff, a ton of
Yeah.
popular
Okay,
stuff,
okay.
but never
Yeah.
that big. Like the role in this movie is the role that I think she has in everything. Oh, she's
Yeah.
typecasted. She's a
Right, right.
yeah,
Oh,
character
definitely.
actress.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
Okay,
now
cool.
let's talk about Bella's wedding dream.
Oh yeah. Right.
I hated it so much.
Here's what I'm gonna say. So far in the movie, I'm like, of course, this isn't like good. This isn't like crazy good. But as far as what this universe has built up, I'm not having many problems so far. Beyond just like the normal things that I've had from the beginning. And this dream, kind of into it.
I like the
Kind
idea
of
of
into
it.
it.
I think that the dumb fake rose petals floating around were so bad. And then when I said that out loud, Micah was like, that was kind of working for me.
Yeah, it was like it made it feel dreamy and fake to me.
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
kind
It
of
looked like a computer screensaver. It was pretty
I
bad.
think something that always bothers me about dreams, it portrayed in TV and film in any way that you can actually see them, is that, at least for me, I don't have detailed dreams like that. The fact
Yeah.
that you can just see everything and it's also detailed and it's like, there's no weird, like, gaps in your memory about it. It's like fluid and I don't know.
Yeah.
So it always bothered
Yeah.
me because I'm like, are you really remembering all of this dream when you wake up? Because when I wake up, I immediately forget my dreams. So
And I think that
yeah, that's true.
there are a lot of she has a lot of bad dreams in the series, but I think that if you feel the need to put a dream in something, it should be something that's like an omen. And
Yeah.
these are just fears that she has.
yeah.
And I've even
I kind of like that. I kind of like that.
okay.
But keep going.
Well,
Keep
I've
doing
just like have read and learned before just about writing and more about books, but it's like, and I know that a lot of people put dreams in, like Stephen King uses dreams all the time and that's fine. But I've also read before that like, you shouldn't, like, what's the point in putting dreams in books when the book's already not real? Why put something further in it that's not real?
Oh, that's interesting.
Which I think is an interesting view to have. I don't think it's like there's a black and white.
Wait, that's your opinion or you've read that?
I've just read that and like learned that.
Oh, okay.
In the past, but and it's not like a black or white, like you just shouldn't do it at all. Like
Yeah, I don't
said,
know if I,
think,
like, totally
I think
agree
there's
with
a
that, but
purpose
it's
for
interesting.
dreams. I think in this series there are just way too many
Sure.
throughout.
yeah, that's true.
To me,
That's
it's
true.
almost felt like a calling card of the series.
Yeah,
like
probably.
like it almost feels like, oh, you have to put a dream in it. It's a Twilight movie. That's
Yeah.
that's where it's gotten to me. But
Yeah.
your point is probably the better take if you were to rewrite the entire series.
No one's gonna redo that.
Well,
no.
that's and this is why I got to urge you, podcasters, to go to my Kickstarter for remaking the
Okay.
Twilight series.
I want to be the first donor. No, I'm just kidding.
Each person, the minimum donation is $15,000.
Wow.
And
Oh,
believe
just
me,
kidding.
it's not a scam.
Okay.
You can rest assured.
So she has this dream that she becomes a vampire and kills everyone, and it's their wedding. And then she wakes up in the actual wedding.
They're standing on the bodies of everyone.
They are.
That's
They
kind
are.
of cool. I
The
gotta give
visual.
them props.
I'm not
That's kinda
against. I'm not
cool.
against the visual. So then now it's the wedding.
Yeah.
And like I've already said, this is like massive, huge, one of the most anticipated things of the year for this movie to come out. And so she's getting ready. Alice and Rosalie are getting her ready. And then her parents see her. They give her the something old and something blue. And then she's about ready to walk down the aisle. And it's like, we see her dress. Big deal. The song that's playing as she's walking down the aisle. Big deal. Her sing Edward. Big deal. Also, it's like they invited the entire town of Forks to this wedding. When like
Literally.
no one knows Bella other than like those 3 people. And the
Yeah.
Colons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's so many
I
people
think there's
at
a
this
lot of
wedding.
vampire friends there, though.
But
There
also,
must
like,
be.
her dad is super well known in this town.
He's like- yeah,
as
he's-
a police officer.
that's
so
true.
it's got to be all of. I mean, classic wedding, right? It's always your parents' friends that come to your
True.
wedding more than your own friends. So
Yeah,
it makes
good
kind of
point.
makes sense to
No,
me.
totally. I would say that pretty nice wedding. spent some money on this wedding.
Can I just like insert as someone who didn't grow up with this and wasn't thinking it was a huge deal?
Yeah.
You know, 10 years ago, which is just, I cannot get over, like, I was cringing from the beginning of the movie, I mean, to the end, but definitely from the beginning of the movie to the end of the wedding, and about just, it is so awkward and forced, like, this wedding between two 18-year-olds, like, I'm sorry, are we Christian and homeschooled now? We're getting married when we're 18, we're little babies, okay? Should not be happening, and it just, like, the fact that everyone is, like, all there and, like, oh, this is so wonderful. We're all just so happy
it's so
to be
normal.
here. I'm so happy for them. It's
This
not
isn't
normal.
predatory
It's
at all.
freaking weird. You can't tell me there aren't people there who are like, this is weird. The Cullens are weird. They look weird. Something's weird. Something's going on here. And the fact that, like, I was really disappointed that we didn't get to see Edward and Bella, like, talking to her dad about this. You're just gonna tell me, like...
That's true.
Like, that he was just like, okay, yeah, I saw this coming. I guess there's nothing I can do about it.
That's truly how it is.
Married. I know, but I hate
it's
that.
lame. Well, remember,
no way.
the author is a Mormon. So
I know.
It's not like...
I know, you can tell.
Oh, that's... Yeah, totally. Because it's like,
can
they
tell.
are both 18. You do have to get married.
I just can't with that. And just, there's just no way. There's no way the dad would be okay with this.
Not only that,
or the
it's
mom,
like...
even Miss Hippy-dippy mommy out in Florida, like, okay with this. Like, no parent. And, like... They don't even know him, which I get, because he's a vampire and they keep everything secret, like, whatever. But you would, want to get to know your son-in-law before you freaking give away your only child
Lauren.
to this family. I just can't. I can't handle it.
I would argue, too...
Lauren.
What?
You can't stop love.
Oh, gosh.
Ew,
I
you
would,
can! You can!
I would argue as well that
it.
Bella and Edward don't even know each other.
Oh, for sure. They haven't had any conversations.
They have not indicated that throughout these movies.
Also,
I'm sure if I read the books, it would be the same. It's like they don't know anything about each other.
They think
Play a
each
game of
other's
basketball
beautiful
and
and they
hang
want
out.
a bone. That's it. That's all there is to it.
Yep, that's it.
it.
A match made in heaven. Oh, and then we have to get to so they're married. Whatever.
Wait. Can I?
It's literally like I hate that she like. I literally am looking at my bookshelf and I have these like books that came out like as special editions when Twilight was coming out of Bella's favorite books of Pride and Prejudice, Romeo and Juliet, and Wuthering Heights. Those are three incredibly amazing novels with very good love stories. Maybe not Romeo and Juliet. I'm not a super huge fan. But Wuthering Heights and Pride and Prejudice, like super famous, beautiful novels. And then there's Twilight. And I'm just like, it kills me that like, I just can't deal with it. I just can't deal with it. I'm sorry.
So I just want to say, you've all spoken about your wedding, okay? The wedding experience of this movie. I want to speak about my wedding experience of this movie.
Go right ahead.
What this world has built up to. I think this is probably the best scene in the whole series.
Okay.
I like the wedding scene. I think it looks nice. It's beautiful. Of course, like the story does not make sense. So if you set that aside and you're just like, I'm accepting this insane story that has not made sense for 3 movies, I dig the wedding. I think the wedding's nice. I like it. I think the music's nice at this scene. And when they kiss and then the camera pans around and no one's there, and then it pans back around and everyone's there, pretty cool
nice
shot.
touch. No, I like that.
a lot.
I like that too. I think it's just because everything's so beautiful and the music here is actually pretty dang good too. You feel like this is all right. You're supposed to feel that way. So you do feel that way. But I think once you're removed from it, it's like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
How is this working? And not only that, in the middle of their wedding, she meets with Jacob and they're just borderline about to, like, it's going to be prima nocta. Like, he is about to, like, have sex with Bella because Edward just leaves him with her to dance. Like,
that was weird.
And it's
that
so
was really
sexy
weird.
and weird. And it's like, this is so wrong. He is such a perv.
And he's just like, if you have sex with him, you're going to die, right?
Yeah.
But what's funny, and a note that I made about this movie, is it's funny how they have to, like, dance around saying words like sex.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, certain things. So it's like, if you go through with this, it'll kill you. It's like, okay, like we've gotten this far. Maybe it would be better if you just said it, because it's almost worse that you're connotating these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in a very vague,
Totally.
roundabout way. Yeah.
But
I
I'll
also think
say,
it's- oh, go ahead.
in The Wedding, I think Kristen Stewart is fantastic in that scene.
Micah, she's pretty good. Good? That's great and good mixed together the whole time.
But
All
I
the
mean,
series,
in
that's what we've
particular,
discovered.
like
Yeah, I
her
agree
her
with that.
pensiveness walking toward the altar, I kind of felt like I was at my wedding, and like the feelings I had. I was like, that is kind of incredible.
Yeah. No, we have done a complete 180 on her in
We
this
totally
series.
have.
It's insane. I
Because
never thought that would happen.
I think for what I mean, I don't think she's good in the first movie, but ever since then, she has like, for what the material is, she's done the best out of anybody.
Absolutely.
And there's been like if you change the story and don't change the performance, it would still have been a pretty good performance on the rest of the movies. I think she's great in this movie.
Yeah. She's good. No one's arguing.
I just remembered something about The Wedding that I literally laughed out loud so hard by myself in my living room when it happened, which was when she's getting ready and her parents are coming up the stairs and the mom sees the wall art of the graduation caps. I lost it. That was hilarious to me because
She's like, oh, how creative.
yeah, and it's just like, no, that's how many times they've graduated from high school because they're immortal, which that is something that I would take and put in another vampire novel that's actually good, because that was hilarious.
Yeah,
like,
I'm pretty interesting.
Those are those
tidbit.
things where you're like, oh, that would have been cool if you explored this, or like the series was more about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I could see a very like a kind of even like a comedy romance type of movie that's like in line with like a Juno in terms of like comedy versus drama, that's about like a vampire that goes to high school. That's like a fun movie.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
It's weird to just double like full down on the romance and also try and make it kind of an action movie. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Well, can we jump to... Oh, go ahead, Lauren.
Sorry, no. Where are you going first? I don't know.
I just want to jump to the honeymoon.
Okay, no, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Having very recently watched them all, like, consecutively, I cannot get over how Edward looks different in every single movie. Like,
it's
in this
crazy.
one, his hair was completely different. The color of his hair was almost different.
Totally. There were
His
no more
eyes-
highlights.
Yeah, his eyes almost weren't even gold. Did you notice that about the vampires in this movie? They weren't really gold anymore. They were like dark
they were
all the time.
Well, yeah, I agree. They were definitely darker than what they were supposed to be, because they're supposed to be like obviously gold. But they do. You probably know this at this point too. But when they get darker, it's because they need to feed. So when their eyes are like black, they like need to go feed. But I do agree that like I think it was a better choice on the makeup person's part this time, because I feel like in the past movies, the people, like when they have gold eyes, it's like too striking. It's too suspicious.
Oh, yeah.
And this movie, it felt a little bit more natural.
That's
I think
true.
the director...
But I understand like being like, wait a second, they're not as gold, because in the past, they've been too gold.
Yeah. And I think the director kind of, like, he kind of said, like, let's back off like their paleness and stuff a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I think so, too.
They look a lot more like, oh, that's
Yeah.
like a pale person, not someone who's like about to drop dead. Whereas everyone else, like throughout the series, you're like, you would never believe that that's a real person.
No.
You would think that they
which
had
that's-
makeup on them.
That's a whole debate in and of itself for me, though, because the point of vampires, in my opinion, is that they don't look human. They're not human. They're not supposed to look normal.
Yeah.
Like, this is another thing about her world that she's created, which is they're so similar to humans that they can live amongst humans and no one would know, which I personally don't like. That's not...
Okay, put
I
the gun
don't
down,
think-
Lauren.
Oh my
Put the
God.
gun down.
Sorry. Oh my god, sorry. This is what you invited me on here for a purpose. I'm fulfilling my purpose.
No, you're so right. I mean...
And then the last thing I wanted to say before we move on from the wedding is like, mostly this is all about Bella, and like you guys said, I kind of agree that she's like /good/great in this, like her acting. I don't mind it so much. Which is, I feel like she really portrayed the like that inner turmoil she's experiencing about becoming a vampire like she wants, and essentially what that entails about like not seeing your family ever again and losing just literally all human parts about you. Like, she's never gonna see her mom and dad again, probably.
Yeah.
Once she gets to a certain age and she's not aging, obviously it'd be too suspicious, and like then they're gonna die, and that's that. And I guess she kind of loves her family. I mean, I think so. Sometimes I'm not so sure. But it just bugs me so bad that turmoil is not enough to stop her. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. There's no way, in my opinion, that she's just, like, still okay with it. And I just don't like
becoming
that,
a vampire.
She loves Edward so much that she's literally giving up all of this stuff for him.
You
which I
almost
just
need,
don't think is great.
Yeah, you almost need, like a sequence in the movie where, like in the series, where, you know, she's debating, maybe after like New Moon, he's asked her to marry her. In the next movie, she's like, you know what, I need to be human. But then the movie ends with like her dad being killed or something. And then she's like, I have nothing left here. I want to be a vampire now. Because I guess you're right when you put it that way. It's like, she's only becoming a vampire because the story wants her to, not because
absolutely.
It
and it's
really
everyone's
makes that much
fantasy.
sense.
It's because she's created this world where they are perfect and like gorgeous. So why, in a way, like why wouldn't she want to be one?
Yeah.
Also, like that goes back to it just feels like they don't know each other at all. So she's just willing to give away her life.
Yeah, it's not balanced. It's not balanced for me. Like, if you had a scale and it's like, here's all the things that are great and you love about being human, and then Edward. And they're not, they don't weigh out. And I think that goes for, like, any story about a vampire and a human, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I like a story where a vampire, like that one sister, I don't remember her name, Rose, I think?
Yeah.
Is like, it's not good. I hate it. I miss being human. You are lucky. And like that sense that she tries to talking about, that I'm here for that. That's what I
feel like the only time that it's actually worked for me like super well is What We Do in the Shadows, because they seem like they have so much fun, and that one of them has that familiar, which is that woman, and she wants to be one so bad, and she was promised it, and it's like I mean, that kind of makes sense to me, because they're having so much fun together.
And we should
we
should do a Patreon episode on What We Do in the Shadows, just so we can watch What We Do in the Shadows again.
Gosh, do it! And I'm inviting myself again. No, I'm just kidding. I freaking love that movie.
It's so good.
Maybe I don't know. Jordan didn't react the way I thought she would.
What are you talking about? I would rewatch the movie anytime.
Oh, okay.
I love that movie.
Okay, and that is all I have to say about the wedding. I'm done talking about the wedding.
Well, this is like the big thing, so it's okay.
We're spending as much time on it as the movie did, which was probably too much.
I guess I couldn't handle how quiet Edward was when they were doing their vows. I was laughing because I was like, there's no microphone. No one can hear you.
No,
that was just a real
but I guess who cares, whatever.
So now let's go to the honeymoon.
So honeymoon, they go to Rio, and then they go to a secluded house.
The most gorgeous house in the world.
Yeah. Private island that the dad bought. Like, did you catch that? That the dad bought for Edward? Yeah.
And
I did not catch that, actually.
The house is, like, perfect and, like, so well decorated.
Oh, I want a vacation there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're going.
Oh gosh, the bed's still broken.
Cool.
Gross. So pretty much, as I just said, they do it finally. But there is. Well, hold on. I'm getting there. So we spent so much time on the wedding, and then of course we're going to spend so much time on the honeymoon. Not only that, it's like he goes swimming, and she's like, okay, there's a montage of her like basically getting ready to like have their first night together.
Yeah,
and it's just so much, and I get it. Like it's all building up to this, but it's like, oh my gosh, this is so much. And then she just goes to the beach in nothing but a towel, and then she's naked, and then we're pretty sure we've seen her boobs a couple times just throughout this honeymoon, and it's like, this is PG-13.
It's pretty wild.
Her boobs are out. Weird.
Yeah, and then the sex scene is like, I mean,
so
it's pretty graphic. Like, I mean, of course, there's no nudity. We don't actually see anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess maybe it's because I like don't watch PG-13 movies that often, And like the PG-13 movies we see now are always like Marvel movies.
Yeah.
So I guess it was weird for me to see a PG-13 movie where there was thrusting. I was like confused by that a little bit.
Yeah.
Like is that
dry.
in a bunch of other PG-13 movies?
No, I don't.
And he breaks the bedboard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
I could not handle that.
I know, it's so crazy.
I think my jaw dropped again because I was just like, it was so cheesy. It was so bad.
Oh,
like,
it was so crazy.
That's another thing, issue I have, like, with kind of how the vampires are portrayed in this. Like, yes, vampires are incredibly strong. That's a universal thing about vampires. But the fact that he can't control it, that I don't agree with that. Like, I don't get it. I've never understood the headboard if you don't want to crush the headboard. Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it makes me feel sick. All of it. It's gross.
Me too.
And so they do it, and then next morning she's like, "That was the best night of my life," and then he was like, "I hurt you, and I'm never touching you again."
Let's play chess
for the rest of the honeymoon.
Oh,
and it's also, well, I forgot to actually look this up, but I'm sure this is the moment when whatever her name was reading the books and was like, I have an idea for a short story that I will make fan fiction that will later turn into 4 books, which becomes 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
Do you know that, Lauren?
Oh my gosh. Yes. No, I think Jordan, did you tell me that? I think someone very recently told me that. Yeah.
I think I did. It was
shocked.
at
Really?
Tammy's birthday party.
Oh, yeah. That blew my mind.
Yeah, I need to make a note so that I need to do a little more research so next week I can like really talk about it a little bit. But listeners, we are not covering that series. I don't want to watch it.
No.
No, thank you.
Sorry.
You were about to say something, Lauren.
I was sorry. What was I going to say? Oh, it's not really pertinent anymore. No, don't worry about me. Okay. Never mind. I'm sorry.
I would argue that this part is too long.
It is.
Where they're at
the
the honeymoon?
Just like, okay, so they have sex. Okay, great. Like, we were all waiting for that too. And then you don't think it was too long?
Keep going.
I just think that the montage was
Mike
just
like,
too
give me
long.
more.
Yeah, apparently. It was just, like, I just think that it was too long. I guess I have nothing else to say about it.
I don't know. I think it's too long because we don't care anymore, I feel like.
Yeah, because they did it. Like, so move on. They did it.
Okay, cool. Like, you're emotional about it. Whatever. Calm down. Yeah. You're new at this. Like, it's not that big of a deal. But they, draw it out. And it's like, oh, my gosh. Move on. We don't care.
I just think. Again, I am not, like, touting this movie in any regard. I don't really like it. But I think that I want to give credit to the director and the screenwriter. It just feels like they know. It feels like, especially the director is like, I've seen the other 3 movies. I get it. And I'm not going to try and reinvent the formula. This is what needs to happen. Let's make it as long as we can. This is like the climax of the series.
Oh, I get that.
And so to me, when I'm watching it, I'm just like, this is not a series for me. But for the people who it is for, this makes a lot of sense that we're hanging out here so long.
No, you're definitely right. It's just too long.
I feel like they had to get their money's worth out of the location and set for the.
That's a really good point too.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's true.
Yeah, we need to film as much as possible.
Yeah,
to make up for it.
Yeah.
So then
she gets pregnant.
And one thing I wanted to mention, this series has. We could have maybe named this like "Woman Not Allowed to Make Her Own Decisions" series. Because in this, she doesn't even get to find out. This made me so mad. Okay, Jacob's been like ruling over her. Edward's been ruling over her. Her dad's been ruling over her. No woman is like, she is not able to be a woman in the series.
Yeah.
Ever. And in this point, she gets pregnant. She's like, oh, what's wrong? What's wrong? Edward takes the phone from her and he finds out. He starts packing, doesn't even tell her, and they leave. Yeah. It's like she doesn't even get to find out she's pregnant by her own volition. She has to find out from a man that she's pregnant.
Yeah.
This is stupid. Let her do anything on her own will, which I guess since everyone wants her to get rid of the baby, she does get to finally make her own decision for once.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. It holds up so poorly in today's culture.
Yeah, it's awful.
This series is like so like destructive toward that realm.
Yeah.
I will
I had
say
to
with
talk about
her, so basically this movie turns into a pro-life or pro-choice issue movie, and there are people on both sides, and I do appreciate that the Rosalie character, like Bella's immediately like, I want Rose to be there to help me, and because in the last movie we discover from Rose, like, I would not wish anyone to be a vampire because like I've always wanted a family, I've always wanted, you know, the perfect normal life. And I appreciate that Bella's like, she gets it. She would understand why I would want to keep the baby. She has to be there for me. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's a good, like, okay, her character had an arc. And she gets to serve a little bit of a purpose.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Which one was that?
Rose, the
Eclipse.
one that was gang raped in the last movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
that was so weird.
The blonde.
Yes, he's a blonde. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, so they go back home, and so they've been home for like 2 weeks, but according to, she's been telling her parents that she's still in Rio and she's really sick and she can't come home soon, but she'll be okay. But actually she has been in the Cullens' home this whole time, and the baby, since it's a vampire baby, has been growing very quickly. So she's basically 9 months pregnant after like 2 weeks.
Theoretically, I like that idea.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But the birth scene is so graphic that I just wanted to vomit at the end of the movie.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
So meanwhile, the werewolves catch wind of this. And there is this scene in the movie. And this is, I am going to say, the worst scene of the entire series.
Hold on. So Jacob comes there because he finds out. And Edward's like, I need to talk to you. And pretty much Edward was like, you need to talk her into having an abortion. And if you can't, and she dies, you need to kill me. And it's like, holy crap,
angst,
dude.
The angst kills
insane.
me.
Maximum
Like,
teenage angst.
Yeah.
literally, at least they're acting like actual teenagers and being dumb as rocks.
That's true. Especially Jacob. Like, oh,
Yeah.
it was so bad.
Man.
But then there's this scene, and Lauren, this is the worst scene of the series, where all the werewolves go to this log like
a
factory.
logging. Yeah.
And they have this
Oh my God.
conversation in each other's
And they
heads.
talk. They talk. I was like,
They talk.
This is the first time they're actually talking.
What
what
was
is
that?
happening?
And their voices are all edited.
And who did the sound editing? I mean, I don't want to bash the sound editor because he probably just did what was asked of them.
Yeah.
Whoever did it.
Yeah.
But it was like, what? This was the decision you made on how they sound?
Yeah.
This is insane. And I was so disoriented. Like, I couldn't make heads or tail of what was actually being said or done.
We got to a point where you paused the movie and you were like, please tell me why the werewolves are involved. Like, why are they upset
I didn't get
about
it.
it?
I didn't get it because before they were like, the whole movie they've been like, Jacob, you just got to let them do their thing and this isn't your trouble. And now all of a sudden one's like, well, there's a new vampire baby. I'm going to go kill it. Let's all team up. And then Jacob's like, well, I'm going to protect it now.
Yeah.
What?
Okay. They kind of briefly, I feel like they touched on it in one of the earlier movies. I don't know which one it is, but something about they have an agreement, the wolves and the vampires, to not mess with each other unless the vampires break the rule of creating more vampires. And so by extension, they know that this
broke the
baby
rule.
is going to be a vampire. They broke the rule. Now the wolves can, it's free game and they
That's
can
true.
go
Yeah.
destroy them because of it.
I think it's also because it's like they know that it's killing Bella, that they're like, this thing's going to be a monster and we have to eradicate it immediately.
But what I'm confused about, they did establish that rule, but earlier in the movie, they're like, oh yeah, they're going to turn Bella into a vampire. And Sam is like, that's not your business, dude, which would break the contract, turning her into a vampire. And he's telling he's telling Jacob, it's like, don't worry about it. It's not your thing anymore. And now that there's a new vampire, that is like, it is like a this is it was all consensual vampire stuff is coming out, and he's like, no, but this one's different than the other one.
I mean, I'm just making up excuses at this point.
Yeah.
But I think they're like, this one's unplanned. Bella, we were okay with because we trust the Cullens enough that that'll be taken care of.
That's just
But now there's a
crazy.
baby in play, and I think that's what the straw that broke the camel's back.
It's just all the wolf stuff is just so crazy to me. It doesn't make sense. let's go back to this scene that was kind of revolting to me, was when she drinks blood out of the sippy cup, out of the styrofoam cup.
Oh my gosh.
Why was that so gross? I think it was because she looks horrible.
Yeah.
And then the blood.
Having to look at her at all is disgusting.
Yeah. So to explain, the baby is basically sucking the life force out of Bella, and she is now terribly emaciated, like just skin and bones. And they're so desperate they can't figure out how to keep her alive, that they were like, maybe if we feed her blood, like that'll appease the baby. Like that's what the baby wants, because it's a vampire baby. If Bella eats food, that's not what it wants. It wants the blood.
Yeah, I think, well, one, I didn't appreciate that she was like, it tastes good. You're human still, chick. It wouldn't taste good
maybe
to you.
That's her,
it's not a yummy snack.
Maybe that's her pregnancy craving.
Ew, that's nasty.
Yeah, that is nasty.
But also, I mean, kind of just in regards to the entire thing of being pregnant with a vampire baby, I don't know a whole lot or have much experience with stories or portrayals of human and vampire babies. Yeah. The only one being Castlevania, where, because Alucard is Dracula's son, but Alucard is half human, half vampire. Okay. So his mom was a human. Obviously, Dracula's a vampire. But that was a completely...
Please.
Yeah, who are we talking about? Who the hell is that? I only know Edward. But that's a completely normal pregnancy and normal length. She survived and had a baby, and the baby's half human, half vampire, and it didn't eat her from the inside out. So it's just kind of... I kind of get the concept, like I get it.
Yeah,
but also not necessary, in my opinion.
Agreed. And so now we have just such a graphic scene where she gives birth to the baby.
And Carlisle, Esme, pretty much everyone besides Edward and Jacob are gone. So basically what I'm saying is Carlisle isn't there to deliver the baby.
But he was there for a moment. What happened?
They left to feed.
Oh yeah,
because the wolves have been patrolling around their perimeter that they haven't been able to, and they were getting really desperate, and they were like, we just need to do it. So they do it, which gets them out of the house. It makes sense for the story, to get them out.
But I thought when she goes into labor, he's there.
Not Carlisle, no.
I'm pretty sure he was.
No, because if he was there, he wouldn't have left. Because he's like the one person who would be able to handle it too.
Yeah. Lauren,
are you sure?
Lauren.
I'm positive. Also, so like she's so like emaciated at this point, when she has a contraction, it breaks her back, and then she falls on her knees and it like breaks her knees.
That was gross and funny simultaneously.
Yeah, nuts.
Just gross for me.
So they have to rip the baby out of her. So they slice into her. Like they give her morphine, but they don't wait for it to take effect. So they just slice her open and they pull the baby out. And of course, like any newborn baby in a movie does not look newborn. It is a big ass baby pulled out of her.
That was a huge baby.
Well, also, Edward has to bite the placenta for unknown reasons.
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah. Yeah,
okay,
I didn't realize that.
I was looking away a lot, so I didn't catch everything.
Well, we didn't know because we saw that he had gone down and like bitten something, and I was like, did he just bite her vagina, I'm like, or did he just like bite her leg because they could tell that she was dying?
This
like,
episode is, as far as our episodes go, as graphic as the movie.
Yeah, but Micah looked up, like he was doing his research, and he saw that it was the placenta that he was biting,
which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm sure maybe in the book it explained.
And then she dies. He bites her all over.
Her everywhere.
And then he does the Pulp Fiction and stabs the needle in her heart.
That's his venom.
Hold on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
go, Lauren.
Okay,
what do you got?
But a big problem I have with that whole, he's like biting her all over, which was so nasty. One, like, God, you're going crazy. Please calm down.
Yeah.
But two, major big vampire rule, if once the heart stops in a human, it is now deadly for a vampire to feed on. So I don't know if he's just biting her just to bite her, but if he's like trying to like bite her and like, I don't know, like if they suck the blood out of a human whose heart has stopped, that vampire will now die. Well, and so I really had
two things. One, I am I can guarantee that Stephanie Meyers does not know that. And then
Well, she should freaking do her research.
And then 2, I think he was just biting her for his venom.
Oh.
I think.
Okay, but
I think.
still.
Well,
Oh,
and
you're
just
right.
for the
Yeah.
record, Stephanie Meyer, we'd love to have you on the podcast.
No thanks. I'm not interested.
No thanks, please no.
Anyone involved in this
yell at her
series, we'd
too
love to
much.
have you on. And then the baby's born. And then Jacob imprints on the baby.
Yeah.
Which,
Okay.
what?
I don't understand what
That's
imprinting is.
gross.
It means falling in love. That's I mean,
Well, they haven't explained it very well, so
they explained it.
I'm with
in
you, Lauren.
Either the last movie. No, I think they explained it in New Moon. But it's pretty much like you have this incredibly strong feeling towards this person when you know, it's like it's literally love at first sight, and there's nothing that can break it. So to me, it feels like a
But isn't it supposed to
primordial,
be-
like you are my property now because I like you. That's what it feels like
alpha,
to me.
omega,
Alpha
kind of
male,
And that
imprinting.
prevents the werewolves from attacking them.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah, well,
I like that idea, but I can't get over the fact that like an 18-year-old just is just like, I'm gonna marry and be in love with that 2-second-old baby, and
that how
people
it
should
is,
think
though?
that I'm hot
Yeah.
and not a pedophile.
I think
Okay, because I wasn't getting that vibe. I thought it was like more.
Well,
I got the protective vibe. Like
Did you
I'm
catch-
going to dedicate my life
Yeah.
to protecting.
And you
this
caught
child.
too when he was imprinting it. There was like a montage, like a very quick montage of it,
yeah.
and him explaining it again. And he said even brotherly instinct. So I think they
Yeah.
add that there so it doesn't feel
oh,
pedophile.
I did miss
Yeah.
that. So if
yeah,
it is
that's
just like
the
a
vibe I
protector
got.
thing,
And I
that's
can't
fine.
remember in the books if it's like by the time she is like of age, they're together. I like can't remember that.
No.
So
Is that in
I
the
don't
movies?
know.
Please tell me that's
No,
in the
movies she doesn't get older than that actress who plays her, who is the young girl.
Okay.
So no, I don't know.
Good.
But
Okay, we'll see.
I remember though, the only thing I do remember is he is very protective of her, and they have a connection that they don't have with anyone else, whether or not that's love or not. Obviously, she's too young to tell. So I think that's why they throw the brotherly thing in there.
I always
And
don't like how babies in movies too look like several months old when they're first born.
yeah,
It's so bad. Yeah.
I guess in this movie it is the only exception that it
True.
could make sense.
That's
considering
a
good
the baby
point.
Ages very rapidly.
What did you think of the CGI baby?
Yeah, it didn't look real, but
Yeah.
it wasn't terrible. I just kind of didn't care.
I remember for the time, even when I saw it in theaters, it looked bad. So there's just no way around
Oh, okay.
it. It's just bad.
Yeah.
so that's the movie.
Well, not exactly.
Oh, what?
quite.
There's more?
Not
Because
quite.
Edward keeps biting her and he's freaking out and she's totally dead. And remember, even Jacob's like,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not going to kill you because you deserve to live in pain for the rest of eternity. But not only that, the movie ends with we're looking
Which
at Bella.
I said when the movie was getting going, I'm like, oh, is she gonna die? And then she's gonna open her eyes and be a vampire, and that's how it ends.
So they basically are like dressing her for a funeral, pretty much. Like, and you see the camera slowly panning down her body, and like she's starting to fill out again, and her hair is perfect again.
Oh yeah, I forgot
And
about that.
Then she
She's,
opens
like,
her eyes and
incredibly
they're red.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she eternally has makeup on, even though she didn't
Yeah.
have makeup on before,
Yeah, her lips and her eyes. Yeah.
which is perfect. And so then she opens her eyes and they're red.
Yeah,
So
and
which
so
means she's gonna go on her crazy feeding frenzy.
which I
Woohoo.
think, I mean, this movie has the problem that movies split into two does. It's a half a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, we are told the full story of her pregnancy, but it's just like a cliffhanger, really?
That's what I'm saying is they spent, and I like we've already discussed, I understand that they spent a lot of time on the
I
wedding
see what you're.
and the
oh,
honeymoon
okay.
because that's what we were all waiting for. But at the same time, they spent so much time on it. Like, let's just say they spent half the time on both of those things.
Yeah,
And even the pregnancy part, you could have eked out the rest of the series.
and then done because inevitably the next movie is going to have like a 45-minute battle scene with the Volturi.
Yeah.
So cut it down to like 10 minutes because the action's not going to be that good.
Yeah.
And then that's that.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
all the jumping and the running and the. Oh goodness.
gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Terrible.
It
So,
is so bad.
Lauren,
I'm
do you have any?
curious.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
Go
just
ahead,
can't remember
Jordan.
what her superpower is, so I'm excited to learn again. And if they don't say it in the movie, I guess I have to look it up.
Okay.
But remember in
yeah.
New Moon, they were because none of the vampires superpowers like work on her. So they were like, "Oh, you would
Yeah.
be very valuable." And I can't remember what she brings to the table.
Right. Oh, I don't even want to know. I don't care so much. Having said that, though, this is probably my second favorite so far.
I thought you said this was your favorite. You said that last
I
night.
think. Well, when I woke up, I was like, I just can't get over how graphic the last third of that movie is. It's like, and I think it might be a little bit of a better movie than New Moon. But if you were like, let's watch Breaking Dawn or New Moon, I'd be like, let's watch New Moon. It doesn't make me feel like I want to vomit.
Yeah, I agree. New Moon's still my favorite.
But this one, I feel like the director maybe understands more than the others have.
True. This one, I did not, by the end of it, feel very bored and angry.
That's the first time that's happened.
It held my attention the whole time.
Yeah.
Which is that's a big thing.
Yeah. So, Lauren, do you have any final thoughts on Breaking Dawn or the Twilight series?
Just a really bad portrayal of vampires. Just not a huge fan. Stephanie Meyer, pretty much, I would say she made up a new creature. That is how far from being a vampire that they are. Like, honestly, give them a different name, call them something else. We'll all get the hint. We'll get the similarities. Like, oh yeah, inspired by vampires, kind of.
Yeah.
But she just changes too much. None of it works. It's just, it's not a very well fleshed out world with creatures that make sense, with histories that make sense.
Yeah.
Like vampires are steeped in such lore that adds to the way that they are and how they live, and it's like, this doesn't have that, which I really don't appreciate.
Agreed.
And it was actually really funny when you said earlier about his interview and then about the Googling.
Yeah.
Instead of like all these books. Also, you cannot tell me that these ancient creatures, because I'm going to assume some of them have lived a very long time, maybe like Carlisle and other people, I don't know, whatever. You cannot tell me that this is the first time this is ever happening, the pregnancy
and the
childbirth,
true.
and they don't have any idea. What? I don't buy that. So that was kind of odd for me. Like, wow, this is the first time you're ever seeing this. Also, yes, you have ancient books all around you and you're using Google.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. It doesn't make sense, but it's convenient for the story. So that's like the only explanation for like all of this stuff. And it's like, that's definitely not good enough.
I also think it's such an injustice that wonderful people like you, Jordan, struggle to publish things, and yet Twilight exists. That's
I appreciate
not fair. I mean it as your writing's great, and then there's garbage like this and 50 Shades of Grey that I just can't wrap my head around. That
The only thing I can say is sex sells.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Unfortunately.
Proof we live in a fallen world. Oh
Yep.
my gosh. Oh my goodness.
Well, do you have anything to
yeah,
plug, Lauren? Do you
Plug?
want to plug like your Instagram or anything like that?
No.
You
Lauren
do a
is
lot of cool
an incredible artist. Follow her
Aw.
at Who Asked Lauren, right?
Yeah.
Is that the one you're
Literally
going with?
on any platform, that is my username. You can find me at
A lot of
Who
cool
She's
Asked
on
Lauren.
anime
Twitter,
stuff.
Instagram, Tumblr. Are you on
I
anything
think
else?
that's it.
Yeah.
No. Nope, that's it.
Well,
I really love vampires. I draw vampires sometimes.
She has a great OC who is a vampire.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, which
What?
he's
Izumi.
a lot better than Edward, so.
Original character
follow
from
me.
D&D.
oh, okay.
Oh, wow, Micah. Thanks for not
I didn't
knowing
know you called him
anything about
OC.
the literal love
OC
of my
is
life.
original character.
I didn't know that. I've never
Oh,
heard
okay.
You
that.
didn't know that? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You just learned something new. Yeah.
Yeah.
OC. But I consider myself a vampire expert, so if you have questions, hit me up. Slide into my DMs. We'll talk about vampires all night long.
I think I have a music video out for Overtime at the point that this recording has come out. It's very cool. We did time-lapse stuff. It's like lo-fi, but we lean into that, and I think it's probably my best. It's definitely my best video that is not a lyric video, for sure.
Very cool.
And I think it's very cool. I'd love to see it get some legs and people share it around. So check that out. Lauren, thank you for being on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for letting me come get really frustrated about vampire inconsistencies with you guys.
Anytime, Lauren.
Anytime.
Literally anytime.
All right. Well, we will see you all next week when we finish our series with another special guest.
Ooh, I can't not wait to watch this last movie, and I'm very excited to hear you guys talk about it.
Let us know. Well, actually, we'll let you know when we're gonna watch it, and maybe we can kind of watch it the same night and text.
Yeah. Let's do it. That'd be great.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.